Welcome to a special edition of the VI Show. We have a very special guest, the myth, the legend, the man, Sean Cannell. Sean, thank you so much for being here.
Benji, so fired up, man.
I'm excited because today we're doing overrated, underrated YouTube edition with you.
I can't believe it. Gary Vee started it. We're inspired. I'm going to do my best.
All right. So you guys, if you're new here, we interview creators just like Sean to help you crush it on this platform. So hit that like button, subscribe for more videos just like this. Let's get right into it. Sean, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Going right into it. YouTube Shorts.
Underrated. I mean, easy. YouTube Shorts, as many views as TikTok, continuing to grow. Early adopters are getting crazy results. We're getting crazy results on Think Media. In fact, a short just broke out. It's on the Shorts feed is now the term. And the fact that YouTube changed the bottom bar of the actual app to give Shorts a whole dedicated section so shows how serious YouTube is about it. And short form is really the future. I mean, TikTok, Reels, Shorts, it's a magical thing. And I think it would be irresponsible for any creators to ignore YouTube Shorts.
At least to not look into it. I completely agree. YouTube Shorts, I think that it's the future of content. I think it can live with long form. However, the numbers don't lie. All right, so moving along, next up, community tab.
The community tab is underrated. Most people forget about using it. They don't use it. The thing is it going to produce disproportionate results and growth to your channel? Probably not. But the other thing is, how much time does it take to actually do community tab posts? It takes potentially less than a minute. And you need to be a YouTube consumer yourself. I'm seeing community tab posts in my feed, whether it's pictures, whether it's text, whether it's somebody sharing a video. The best way to use community tab is actually to do a square image with a call to action to one of your YouTube videos. You can reactivate old videos in your library. You can drive more traffic to new videos. Why not use the community tab if you just put a little reminder on your phone or your calendar to take 60 seconds to do a community tab post?
Yeah, community tab lets you have that social connection with your audience without going on to social media. So completely underrated. And like you said, super easy and shows up in suggested. Crazy. Next up, ADSENSE.
YouTube ADSENSE is properly rated. I think that people understand today that YouTube ADSENSE is still one of the great platforms for monetization. It's interesting though, you know, we were hanging out at a barbecue with some of your friends that are on TikTok and even Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're getting monetization. They're getting paid well from Facebook. They're getting paid well from TikTok. People are paying rent with their TikTok creators fund. And so there are definitely other platforms that are paying creators that are getting big views, but ADSENSE is still the juggernaut. It's still the main one, but I think people understand that, therefore it's properly rated.
Word. I actually think it's underrated only just because no other platform offers anything even remotely close if you were comparing it to other platforms. Up next, vlogging.
I think that vlogging is overrated. I think that it's certainly something you can be successful with. I think it also really went through an era. You and your wife's vlog is kind of a unicorn. You've also changed, you've pivoted, you've adapted. I think it's interesting because vlogging, people that took it to extremes burnt out like crazy and drove themselves into like almost dark depression. I'm in a glass case of emotion. As Casey Neistat opened up about, vlogging being sustainable is challenging. You've adjusted your schedule because of that. But even still, I think that a lot of people, a lot of creators, I think that vlogging is not a practical path for most for success on YouTube. And in that regard, it's overrated. Can you still do it and succeed there? Absolutely. But I think there's better paths if you want practical success on YouTube.
Obviously, you know my answer to that. DSLR cameras.
I think DSLR cameras.
For YouTube.
I actually just saw Gary on the show talk about the barbell, where it's both underrated and overrated. I think that mirrorless cameras are by far better than DSLR cameras. They're the new technology, and you might as well, if you're getting a new camera, grab one. But DSLR cameras are still so good And a lot of times they're discounted. Just because everybody wants the latest, greatest thing, it means they're selling off their Canon 80D, which is still a great camera to vlog with. Do the flip screen. It's got the dual pixel autofocus. Lenses are cheaper. The bodies are cheaper. So if you want to really build out your YouTube battle station with some older gear, I think DSLRs are worth checking out. But companies have committed to Sony is making no more DSLRs. So I think that kind of shows that they're on the way out.
So DSLR mirrorless cameras, generally speaking, overrated or underrated?
Both of them. I think they're underrated as well, because everyone's going to go to smartphone. But if you want to have that difference and edge, smartphones can fake the blurry background, but nothing compares to a 85 millimeter 1.2 lens, a 70 to 200 lens. So most people are going to be pull off most of their content creation needs, but those that are really artisans, craftsmen, and want a distinct look to their content are going to continue to invest in cameras.
Shooting in 4K.
I think that shooting in 4K is properly rated. Some people say you have to shoot in 4K. I don't think that's true. But I also don't think, I think it's become mainstream. We used to say like, 1080 is good enough. 4K hasn't really been mainstream or adopted yet. It's mainstream now. It's like every Netflix show is in 4K. Old movies are up processed into 4K. So it's the expectation on monitors, even phones. It's a small screen, but like a lot of new phones are like 5 or 6K. So 4K is a really good format for preserving your footage. For having the highest possible quality for your use today, but also potentially for tomorrow. I think you might look back a few years from now. If you're not shooting 4K in 2021, you're going to look back and be like, why the heck was I not shooting 4K in 2021? Because it's accessible on pretty much every camera, phone, etc.
Sweet. Next up, very serious topic, the Paul brothers.
I think the Paul brothers, well, when you group them, I think they're totally underrated. I think that Jake Paul, a lot of people want to kind of hate on him, and he has invited that. Like he's the way his lifestyle, the way he's lived his life. But especially now that he's in boxing, a lot of people weren't taking that seriously. He's worked incredibly hard, demonstrated a lot of skill. This is not me knowing anything about boxing. I've watched Rogan or MMA experts study, and they're like, this guy's a serious force. He could really go places with this. I think the other thing to consider is you just got to look at the math. People get so emotional about, and I get that. Sometimes people's conduct might be something you don't respect. That's fine. But if you want to talk about just in terms of like
media
driving,
exposure.
Yeah. And they're still getting insane numbers. When people say stuff, they're like, oh, that person's irrelevant now. They're making an emotional judgment. They're not making a mathematical judgment. We're
not judging their character here.
Yeah.
We're talking about their significance to YouTube, and I completely agree.
And what they're going to do in their careers, they're underrated in terms of what I think we'll see from them in the next 5-10 years. People think, oh, they're done. Right. There'll be a lot of reinventions in my
Good
opinion.
or bad, they brought more attention to YouTube than just about any creator out there, I would say, other than maybe Will Smith.
Sure.
Okay, next one, kind of another fun one, Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast is underrated. I think he continues to blow the roof off of things. He not only one-ups himself with his new uploads, but things like Mr. Beast Burger, his entrepreneurial aspirations. He self-declared he wants to be like an Elon Musk.
What is that actually happened? Of course it happened.
And from what he's shown thus far, I don't know if I believe that could be possible. It may be like Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, but right behind them, we might see Mr. Beast in space next. I'm sure that conversation has happened on their team. They're just like, we need a lot more money to pull off the space episode. But when Mr. Beast is like, we go to Mars, like you'll see that in the thumbnail.
He's arguing with his mom right now, the bookkeeper, like, hey, we got to spend it all. Yeah, I completely agree too with Mr. Beast. I mean, he is a beast. Like he truly represents that to the highest level. I think he's stolen that title from Marshawn Lynch. I'm sorry, bro. Sparkling water.
Sparkling water is properly rated, maybe slightly overrated. I have a personal passion for it because I've been drinking sparkling water before it got really popular. Now there's so many different brands, LaCroix, of course, classics like your Mountain Dana or whatever it is, Mountain Valley.
You know, a funny story. You're the one that got me into sparkling water because I used to never. And when we used
Perrier.
to, the early days of video influencers, you just had that whole fridge full of
Talking
them.
Rain.
LaCroix, before they had that whole scandal.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I also think about it's a whole trend for the alcohol, the sparkling seltzers. Like that is everything. Like everyone's going seltzers. So I don't know. It actually might be underrated in terms of the upside of the commerce in the future. But what's funny is things go so extreme. It's just sparkling water. Like it's good, but it's just sparkling water. Like all of a sudden it's like this massive movement.
It's crazy. And they put alcohol in it and then it just took a whole life of its own.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think it's overrated.
It probably is maybe overrated, but the upside, yeah, it's probably a little too crowded to start a new sparkling water brand too, but who knows?
All right. YouTube CLOUT.
YouTube CLOUT, I think is properly rated. We talk about this a lot. We've talked about how even though TikTok is going insane, VidCon this year, TikTok's the dominant platform. Like that's crazy. Yet you've let me know that a lot of people on other platforms, still YouTube is the desired kind of end game. That like, I want to also, Charli D'Amelio built TikTok, but also started her YouTube channel. And a lot of people still want to build out that YouTube home base. So if you mean YouTube CLOUT in terms of
being a YouTuber, having that presence on YouTube.
Yeah. Even if you built it elsewhere, the desire, I think, to have real legitimate YouTube CLOUT, it's still underrated. We both wrote YouTube Secrets together. We are passionate about helping people get on YouTube. It's stunning to me that in 2021, I still think that people don't get how powerful YouTube is, how significant momentum, once you get momentum there from the algorithm, from search, how ongoing. It's kind of like you aren't just putting in work to get a result one time. You're digging a well that you can drink from for weeks, months, and years to come. If you build a brand on YouTube, it is probably one of the strongest places to have a brand, because that is going to keep providing water for your family, for your business, for your brand, for your influence, for years. And so I think it's underrated. People don't see that.
And it actually goes back to AdSense. Funny for me. I mean, of course, people aspire to be a YouTuber. People just know that YouTube is a powerful platform, even for businesses. But man, having that AdSense is one of the things, again, other platforms don't have. And that is something that creators just kind of understand intrinsically. They might make a lot of money from brand deals or certain the products, but having that cash flow consistently, powerful. Next up, YouTube playlist.
YouTube playlists are overrated. The reason I say that, because I still love them. We still use them. They're still a great way to serve certain viewers that even know what a playlist is, and they can discover them by clicking on your channel page and finding where we put, like on Think Media, we put all of our M50 videos together, or we put our step-by-step series on how to make videos with the Sony ZV-1. That's a utility for people, but here's why they're overrated. If you go in your analytics and you look at traffic driven from playlists, it's so insignificant. No matter how good I feel like we're pretty good at them, and they still, compared to suggested or browse features or search. And so in terms of crazy impact, crazy growth, they're probably overrated.
Yeah. And in fact, one of the reasons why I think they are overrated is because the next question, or the topic, YouTube algorithm.
The YouTube algorithm is underrated, in my opinion. When you understand how to crack that code, and you know at least the game you're playing and what levers you're trying to pull, the YouTube algorithm is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. I think a lot of people know that. They see that, they hear people talk about it. And they dream about a video breaking out in the algorithm. But once you've felt it a couple times and you've experienced it, you go, oh my gosh, I'm just making videos at home in my bedroom in my boxers, and I'm reaching the world, and YouTube is pushing. This is pulling views. It's pushing views it's pushing this video out. You're like, dude, this is crazy. This is really powerful. And even if you feel like you've got it, I think you can still wake up and be like, wow, the YouTube algorithm is like the Wizard of Oz. You know, that's a bad analogy. The YouTube algorithm, I don't know what it's like. It's like an infinity stone. There's a lot of power there. And you could just, you know, if you get all 5 infinity stones right, title, topic, time, you know, good content, and just boom, ignite the galaxy.
No, I agree. I think that's what's making YouTube Shorts so crazy good. And that's the reason why YouTube keeps people's attention, because you don't even have to go search anymore. You just go to suggested. I know for me personally, 70-80% of what I watch is suggested by YouTube, and that's the algorithm.
I agree. The homepage.
It's like your homie that just knows exactly what you want.
Oh man, and I wanted
it's like
to
a
get to know me
bartender.
better.
It's like a bartender.
That's true.
That knows what drink you want, and it's sitting right there for
hey,
you.
try this, and
Yeah.
you're like, what is it? You're like, hey, just give it a sip.
When it's 90 to 99% like what you wanted, or it's great experience, why would you want to go to another bar?
Come on, YouTube, keep getting to know us. Be our bartender.
All right, you guys, this is a special edition of the VI show. Overrated, underrated, of course, Sean Cannell. Make sure you go check out his channel, Think Media. We'll put all the links down below, and then subscribe to Video Influencers, because we are the co-authors of YouTube Secrets, and we started this channel just to get this book out there. Sean, why should people buy YouTube Secrets?
Benji, because YouTube Secrets is underrated, I think. But seriously, in YouTube Secrets, we talk about the 7 C's of YouTube success. It's a framework that, even though we created it about 3 years ago, it's unbreakable. It keeps working. Yeah. And those 7 C's are building blocks that you also don't graduate from. I think that sometimes people get fancy and they feel like they know it all. If you're saying you know it all, that's one of the most dangerous things to say. Yeah. I don't want to be a know-it-all. I want to be a learn-it-all. And when I even return, you know, we've been making some different plans for the future of like our next book. And even going back to it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good reminder. Oh, I got to work on that too. Repetition is the father of learning and the mother of mastery. So I think you can't go wrong by investing in yourself and getting strategies. Plus it's on audio.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you
definitely get the audio book. And I will say this, don't take our word for it. When Sean says even seasoned creators can go back to basics, our first Amazon review was from a YouTuber that had 1 million subscribers, right?
Yeah.
That was completely unexpected. I don't think necessarily it was like a fan of ours. It was just somebody that, like you said, wants to level up and continue learning. With that being said, let's get back to the rest of the show. Next up is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk is severely underrated. What's cool about it is a lot of people that see him on social sometimes see how intense he comes across, or they just it's the way that people judge everybody. They just judge the headline. They just judge the reel. They just judge the TikTok.
I'm talking to you.
You can't blame them. I mean, you can blame them because you can't know anybody in that amount of time, but sometimes cursing or however he comes across is pretty intense. But I've been thinking about it, you know, even more lately, because operating a business, Think Media is 18 people now. And I think about, dude, running a team of 1,000 plus having the Gary Vee team, plus I know they sold Empathy Wine, but running that.
Multiple locations.
Multiple startups,
cities.
countries, you know, stewarding the level of influence and the amount of book sales and just all the different things. Like, we've swam in some baby waters. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been in the kiddie pool, but at least I have some perspective of what it's like to even be in the pool. And so I think that over his career, he hasn't even really started yet.
I think appropriately using this example, he's like wine that's going to age better over time. And the reason I also agree that he's underrated, because let's just see what he does in 10, 20, 30 years, you know, and he's already done great stuff. So imagine that. Next up is YouTube experts.
YouTube experts are overrated. I mean, and here's why. I think, first of all, you got to be careful who you follow. I think that a question you should ask about any YouTube expert is, have they only been successful teaching YouTube? You know, that was like one of our passions too, was that we had done YouTube in other niches. You'd done it in real estate. You'd done it with your vlog channel. you had then worked together, learning it from others and interviewing others. I had done it for clients. I had helped churches. I had, helped authors and speakers use YouTube and help them rank their videos.
You had your personal channel.
I had my personal channel, was making hundreds and thousands from affiliate marketing without teaching YouTube yet. So that's a good framework, is to ask yourself, is the YouTube expert only successful teaching YouTube? But the second thing is, the reason any expert is overrated is a person's advice and information. I'd say this, it's probably good. Like, they're teaching great stuff. Problem is, you got to take action. They're overrated if you think they're the magic pill. You're the magic pill. You're the magic. You got to get up and light your own magic, Harry Potter. You got to get up and kick your own butt to get into gear. And that's what I would say. I think I'm a lover of YouTube experts, social media experts. I want to learn from people who can teach me the platforms. But where you get the results is when you take action and take responsibility. And you're not going to actually get that from somebody else. You have to take personal responsibility.
And yeah, people that we work with who are also in the same space as us knows that they probably would also agree, because this is just generally speaking. There's definitely great experts that we collab with and work with us. And Sean, you have your own event. And we've obviously interviewed a whole bunch of people. And that's what we want to see. We want to see results, right? We don't want to just be reading a textbook. Next up, VidCon.
I think that VidCon, I haven't been in a while, to be fair. And I think that it's underrated. I think online video is going into a whole new era. You'd probably be better to speak to this. I think it is so fascinating that TikTok is the dominant platform there. And the power of VidCon is, I suppose, that they are just committed to online video in general. We've been to so many VidCons.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was at its peak, but I want to feel like and it continues to grow, but probably 35,000 or 50, 45,000, or 55,000 people, which is crazy. So then the question is it going to be 60,000? Is it going to be 80? Is it going to be like Comic-Con and hit 200,000? I don't know what Comic-Con hits in San Diego. And so in that case, it's probably underrated, honestly. And what's weird is video creator culture, YouTuber culture, TikToker culture, the creator economy, I would say it's kind of mainstream. It has hit the modern vernacular somewhat, but VidCon is still an absolutely niche event. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows that it's happening. Like your grandma, you
never see it like get Comic-Con type of attention, but that's why it is underrated, because it's so massive, and it affects and influences so much of the world for like 2 weeks, really 2 weeks, even though it's only like a few days long. Yet it has no media attention. And that's kind of the nature of social media, especially YouTube. There's this world, and I always say this is my next book, right? How there's this world that we all can relate to, or we all actually use, but we just don't understand the significance of it from a grand scale. And VidCon kind of is that representation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that this next decade, this isn't even an opinion. The data shows us, the Signal Fire report, that this next decade is going to be the best decade for the creator economy. It really is coming into maturity now, and it's going to continue to influence all kinds of sectors of culture. And there's a lot of opportunity. And events like VidCon, events in general, they've changed our life. I think about all the friendships, like a lot of the industry friendships, partnerships. There's certain people that we saw at so many events. It's like I saw them for a while there more than my family, because we were seeing, like
Roberto Blake, Nick Nimmin,
Owen Video,
all
Daryl,
my vlogging friends.
Tim Schmoyer.
Yeah. I met Daryl Eves there, I think.
All kinds of people. Met Rob from VidIQ at a vid summit.
I met so many other creators too that I didn't know that knew me there. Right. And I used to do this thing where I wouldn't check my DMs.
Matt Geelan. That's a good YouTube.
All my people that I met
tips
were from in person. So VidCon, definitely underrated. I may be going this year. We'll see. I want to move into some rapid fire, if you don't mind. You can still explain this one, but rapid fire, bro. All right. So boom, 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 boom. Old school hip hop.
Underrated.
Today's hip hop.
Underrated.
Coffee.
Properly rated.
Seattle.
It's a weird time in Seattle, man. I mean, if you're talking downtown Seattle.
I just went there, by the way, and saw what happened.
Yeah.
Like I was walking and like the police station is completely boarded. I go, this was Chaz.
Yeah. Yeah. Chaz, the whole thing. I mean, the Pacific Northwest, it's funny because now we're back for summers. We're starting to spend time here in summers, and then we're based in Vegas with the Think Media team for the rest of the year. We're getting our 10-month-old around family. And so we love the Pacific Northwest, but I actually feel like it's overrated. I think because, I mean, with the crowds are rushing here, it's kind of, and that makes sense. I mean, what's overrated about it is all the special features. It's an amazing place. It's beautiful.
I definitely agree. This is a weird time, but it's definitely underrated in my opinion. I've lived all over the world. Amazing places, Tokyo, Hawaii, San Diego, California. And I thought this was going to be the bane of my existence. I was going to move away, and I've grown to love it here. So definitely underrated. But the next one will be interesting. Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is underrated as a place to live. It might be overrated as a place to go ruin your life. I mean, like go lose some money, make some horrible decisions, do something with somebody that will really affect your meaningful relationships. That's really overrated. But actually Vegas is underrated as a place to live. I mean, really nice communities, desert, landscaping, Red Rock, Hoover Dam, Lake Mead, cost of living. It's a pretty incredible place. And the fact you can get to Arizona, Utah, California really easy. I mean, we've stayed there now for a decade and happy to live there year round. We feel like we're getting the best of both worlds because summers there are ridiculous and really hot. That's why we're taking summers in the Pacific Northwest where it's the best.
It's summer all year there, and then it's basically
an inferno.
Yes, the rest of the year. Okay, last few, a couple fun ones, couple serious ones. Number one, blue check mark or being verified on YouTube.
Well, I think those are two different things. I feel like being verified on YouTube doesn't carry the same weight as the blue check mark. The blue check mark on Instagram seems to be, I feel like Instagram's blue check mark is the top. Twitter's like kind of cool. It's probably the next one. YouTube just feels like it's a protective measure to verify that you are real. I don't know if people see it.
There's two levels, by the way, of being verified on YouTube. There is like a lower level, just make sure that you're a real person and this is your channel. And then there is the verified, similar to the blue check.
But it's like gray. But if it was blue, it would be cooler. If it had more of like a sheen to it, like Instagram has those vibrant colors, not only like the rainbow thing, but the blue check mark is like almost like three-dimensional. YouTube's check mark is like this dingy gray, almost invisible check mark. Helpful. You know, Graham Stephan almost got his channel deleted.
Yeah.
Because of the crypto scammers.
Yeah.
And I do think that the verification, even from just safety, by the way, it's happening. Like it happens on Think Media all day long. Think Media accounts just pop up. They just call it Think Media. So I think it's actually important from a protective standpoint. But is it underrated or overrated? I think it's overrated if you think it's the thing that's going to make or break your success in social media or YouTube.
Definitely feel it's properly rated, but the blue check mark on Instagram, that's maybe another overrated, underrated, is underrated, I believe. Last question, and this one's for a lot of the viewers here that are just getting onto the platform. Starting a YouTube channel in 2021, and why?
Well, I don't know if it's an underrated or overrated question. I think it's a good idea. I think all of the voices that say, is it too late? Is it too crowded? Is it, possible still? Well, actually, those questions have been answered. I mean, even just in like our community alone, we're seeing people that have started in the last few months. I think about Carrie, we were just breaking them down. 5,000 subscribers, 700 months, $700 in AdSense a month, $3,000 in affiliate marketing a month. And he has an online course. He teaches about printing on demand, t-shirts, sourcing material, merch, how to do print shops and all this kind of stuff. Small channel, small niche, only been on YouTube a few months. I mean, he's like, so it's not too late. And by the way, are other people doing that? Yeah, a ton. So it's not too late. It's not too crowded. We're not ignorant to those challenges. I think the best time to start a YouTube channel was probably 2005, right? The second best time was 2015. The third best time, like, is always right now. And if you're on the fence, I think you'll be kicking yourself in 2025 or 2030 when you look back and you think, man, what if I didn't just make excuses? What if I didn't just complain? What if I didn't just be cynical about it? What if instead I got to work and I started to create more than I consume? And what if I really just put energy into building something? There's no guarantee of success in anything, but you don't know if you don't try. And so this next decade is going to be the best decade on YouTube. Signal Fire revealed that this is the fastest growing small business type. If Subway's right now, Subway franchises, the Subway sandwich restaurant, was the fastest growing best business model, then, and I wanted to like start a business and find a way to provide for my family, then I could go down right now and be like, really, for real? It's still going to take work. I'm still going to have to manage it, market it, you know, do things for it or whatever. I definitely going to have to work hard. But if that was the best business model and the fastest growing business model right now, then I'd go start a Subway franchise. It happens to be that this incredibly fun way to express your passion, way to monetize your passion, way to impact people around the world, way to work from home and create content, and to be a content creator is literally the fastest growing small business type. And billions of dollars are flooding into this industry. It's up to you, but you got to take action. It's 2021. It's time to start. It's time to punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record.
Word. I think it's completely underrated because there's never been a time where you have as many tools, as many opportunities to make money, so much support for the creators on this platform. And, you know, I started in 2008, been on this for, it's crazy, 15 years almost, known you for 10 years. I've just never seen as much attention and still potential at the same time. So completely underrated. With that being said, if you enjoyed that, hit that like button. Let us know in the comments area what you agreed with, what you disagreed with. What are your thoughts? As well as if you want to start a YouTube channel and you want all the videos where we teach you how to do that, click or tap the screen right here. Sean, any last words?
Giddy up.
We are clear.